Hi, I'm Darcel Lobo and I own Dow Law Firm, and today we're going to talk about power of attorneys. We do a lot of estate planning work with wills and trusts, and no matter which option you go with, one of the things we're also going to do for you are your power of attorneys. And there's actually two power of attorneys that we're going to do for you. One is for financial decisions and one is for healthcare decisions. So today we're going to talk about who you may want to select for those different power of attorneys. And a lot of times I get the question of, well, does it have to be the same person? And no, it does not. And that's why we prepare them separately, because a lot of times there may be someone who you know would be better at financial decisions for you, and then somebody else who you know will be better at healthcare decisions. And I see this a lot of the times when it comes to naming adult children as your power of attorney. So if you have multiple children, you may know that maybe one child may be better at managing your financial affairs for you, and that another child might be better at, making healthcare decisions for you and following your healthcare wishes. And so you can name someone different in those roles. It can be the same person. So if you have one person that you want to make financial decisions for you and to make healthcare decisions for you, it can be the same person. That's fine also. And we have clients who do both options, right? If you're married, you're going to have your spouse first, but then as a backup to your spouse, it can be one of your adult children, it can be a sibling, it can be a parent, it can be a trusted friend or family member. So it can be anyone that you decide would be the best person to make that decision. And also remember that you can always change this later, right? So if we do this now, and if a few years from now you decide, the person that I named for my financial power of attorney might not be the right person anymore, we can change that very easily for you in those documents. And then let's just make sure we clarify what the power of attorney is doing and how they come to have this power. So with the power of attorneys, they are durable power of attorneys, and so as we draft them, they're only effective upon your loss of capacity. So while you have capacity to make your own decisions, you are making your own decisions. No one else has power over you. But what these documents say is that if you lose that capacity, it could be short-term due to an injury or illness, it could be long-term with something like dementia or Alzheimer's. So for whatever the reason is, you are unable to make decisions for yourself. That is what allows your power of attorney to act. And what it requires is that a physician certifies in writing that you don't have that capacity. So we prepared the power of attorney now. You have that in your estate planning binder. And then if you lose capacity, the person that you've named as your power of attorney gets a letter in writing from the physician that verifies that you don't have capacity. When they have that letter from the physician plus the power of attorney document, those two items together is what allows that person that you've named to handle your affairs for you. So let's say it's your financial power of attorney. They would take those documents to your bank, to the mortgage company, to whoever they need to deal with on your behalf as your financial power of attorney. They're going to provide copies of the power of attorney and that doctor's, certification that you don't have capacity. And that's what's going to allow them to make decisions for you. Okay. So that's how that works. That's how the power of attorney works. That's when they come into having that power over you. And again, you don't have to pick the same person for financial decisions as you do for healthcare decisions. Now, if it is the same person, that's fine. When it comes to your financial power of attorney, given how things are done so remotely and so virtually these days, you really could pick someone who lives almost anywhere in the country, right? And they can still handle your banking, pay your bills for you, things like that. But when it comes to a healthcare power of attorney, it's usually ideal to have someone who is somewhat local to you. If there is an urgent decision that needs to be made, If you have a medical emergency, usually it's ideal if we have someone who's local. And sometimes that may or may not be always possible. Sometimes I do have clients that select someone who is maybe not so local. But we just talk about it and say, hey, okay, if you pick this person, if they're out of state, just know that that can be a little bit of a cause for delay sometimes. And so we try to go local if we can, and if we cannot, then we go with the person that the client wants to pick if they're, out of the city or out of the state, to act as that power of attorney. Also, I sometimes have clients who come to me and say, I don't know who I'd want to serve as my power of attorney. I don't have anyone to name. I do not act as your power of attorney. I do not act in that capacity. However, there are professional fiduciaries. There are professional companies that you can name to be your power of attorney, to be your executor, to be your trustee. There are professional corporations who will do this. There is a fee for that, of course, but sometimes that isn't the best option for a client who doesn't have someone to name to act in that capacity. So if you need help with picking who should be your power of attorney, if you don't have someone to choose, just know you can select a professional one. And so when I have my consultation with a new client and we're talking about their estate plan, if they tell me that they don't have someone to name or they're not sure who to name, I provide them with a list of like 5 or 6 different professional corporations that they can name to act in that capacity, for them to review and look into and maybe select from if they need to. So you do have that option as well. So if you need help with your estate plan, with your power of attorneys, with your will, with your trust, if you haven't had them drafted yet, but you know that you've needed to, it's been on your to-do list for a long amount of time and you're ready to get that done, please feel free to reach out. I'm happy to meet with you and discuss what your needs are, what your wants are, and to get an estate plan in place that reflects that for you. If you happen to be an old will, an old power of attorney from 10, 20 plus years ago, and you know it needs some updates, we need to make some changes to it, we're happy to help you as well. So reach out. Our number is 206-408-8158. I'll have our website and information all below for you to reach out when you're ready to get help with your estate plan. So again, I'm Darcel Lobo. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.